Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Survivors of the Munich Allach concentration camp, a subcamp of Dachau, saluted U.S. troops of the 42nd Infantry Division on April 30, 1945. Sharon Tate, an American actress and model, was photographed looking at baby clothes just days before her tragic death. 8 months pregnant, she was murdered on August 9, 1969, at her home in Los Angeles by followers of Charles Manson. The last known photograph of a wild Atlas lion was taken by Marcelin Flandrin in 1925. This subspecies, native to the Atlas Mountains of North Africa, was driven to extinction in the wild due to overhunting and habitat destruction. At the start of the United States Postal Service parcel service in 1913, some parents mailed their young children as packages, taking advantage of the lack of specific regulations. A bride left her war-damaged home in London to get married around 1940. The ducking stool was a public punishment device used during the Middle Ages, especially to punish those accused of crimes like slander or witchcraft. This example stood near the Clink prison in London in the 15th century and was used to repeatedly dunk the condemned in water. Kenneth Hunter performed mechanical checks in mid-air during the Hunter's Brothers record flight, which lasted 23 days without landing. In 1930, this feat was made possible by periodic refueling and food supply drops from another aircraft. Svetlana Stalin, daughter of the Soviet leader, was photographed sitting on Lavrenti Beria's lap with her father in the background in 1931. Beria served as head of Soviet state security and was one of Joseph Stalin's closest collaborators, wielding significant political and repressive power. A boy, the son of migrant workers, was photographed at home in Edinburgh, Texas in 1939. Families like his moved frequently in search of agricultural work, facing precarious living conditions and instability. Joseph Stalin and Harry S. Truman smiled during the 1945 Potsdam Conference in Potsdam, Germany. The meeting brought together Allied leaders to discuss Europe's reorganization and the conclusion of World War II. A depot at the Sola airfield in Stavanger stored part of the roughly 30,000 firearms seized from German forces after Norway's surrender in 1945. The collection was organized by the Allies as part of the disarmament and demobilization of Nazi troops in the region. Paula, the German leader's younger sister, was detained by the United States Army in 1945 after the end of World War II. She lived much of her life quietly under the surname Wolf and was interrogated because of her family connection. The German leader's office in the new Reich Chancellery in Berlin was designed to impress foreign visitors and officials. Completed in 1939, the building featured monumental and lavish architecture reflecting Germany's official style at the time. Miners worked in a coal mine in West Virginia around 1940, facing harsh and hazardous conditions. The coal industry was vital to the region's economic development, providing energy for factories, railroads, and homes throughout the United States. Firefighters rescued a horse that had fallen into an Amsterdam canal in 1929. Due to the city's extensive canal network, accidents involving animals were relatively common, requiring specialized techniques to ensure the safety of both the animal and the rescuers. Veterans of the 13th Light Dragoons posed together after surviving the famous charge of the Light Brigade during the Crimean War in 1854. The attack at the Battle of Balaclava was noted for the cavalry's bravery in the face of intense enemy fire, despite command errors. Dogs were trained as messengers and first responders at the British War Dog Training School during World War I. In 1917, these animals performed essential duties, carrying messages, medical supplies, and even locating wounded soldiers in combat zones. Workers prepared explosives and fireworks at Payne's Fireworks Factory in London. In 1928, the factory was one of the most renowned producers of fireworks, supplying displays for public celebrations and private events throughout Great Britain. Students took part in a practical lesson in pole climbing as part of their telephone electrician training, accompanied by their instructors. In 1918, this vocational training was offered by the Student Army Training Corps at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. A mine rescuer was outfitted with specialized gear, including a breathing apparatus and a safety lamp, designed for rescue operations in hazardous underground environments. The Sibley Breaker coal processing plant was built entirely of wood, a common practice in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Although functional, this choice made the structure highly susceptible to fires, and it was eventually destroyed by flames. 3 sailors posed beside a German naval mine during World War I in 1916. These devices were used to protect strategic maritime areas by damaging or sinking enemy vessels that struck their detonators. Workers poured concrete for the Hoover Dam's foundation in blocks called lifts, a method that allowed the material to cool gradually to prevent structural cracking in 1933. An anchor was recovered from Lake Nemi, belonging to one of the 2 massive vessels built by order of Emperor Caligula in the 1st century. These ships were intended for religious ceremonies or personal use, notable for their luxury and advanced engineering for the time. Maurice Tillet, known as the French Angel, rose to prominence as a professional wrestler in the 1940s, achieving international fame. A construction worker balanced on a narrow beam carrying a heavy sack during the erection of a skyscraper in New York City. In 1930, such practices were common, with workers performing dangerous tasks without the safety equipment now required. An Impressionist painting by Edouard Manet, titled Dans la Serre, was discovered in an underground vault in Merkers, Germany on April 25, 1945. The work was part of a vast collection of art and treasures looted during World War II and stored by German forces. A gilded bust of Emperor Marcus Aurelius was discovered in 1939 in an ancient sewer in Avenches, Switzerland. Avenches, known in Roman times as Aventicum, was the capital of the province of Helvetia and a major cultural and political center. Sammy Davis Jr. received final instructions from a boxing champion as he prepared for a celebrity exhibition match. In the mid-1950s, such events were popular, bringing together entertainers and athletes in friendly bouts to entertain crowds and raise funds for charities. Liberty cargo ships were built at an accelerated pace at the Bethlehem Fairfield shipyards in Maryland to support the Allied war effort during World War II. The position of the ball turret gunner on a B-17 bomber was one of the most dangerous and claustrophobic in military aviation. Located beneath the aircraft, the turret allowed defense against enemy attacks from below, demanding courage and endurance from its occupant. Rutger Hauer posed on the Blade Runner film set, the 1982 science fiction classic. The actor played Roy Batty, one of the most memorable replicants in the story, noted for its themes of humanity and technology. Douglas Trumbull, the visual effects supervisor, worked on the Blade Runner set in 1982, contributing innovative techniques that defined the film's striking aesthetic. People rested on sidewalks amid confetti and paper after celebrating the end of World War II in New York City on August 14, 1945. The date, known as VJ Day, marked Japan's surrender and the official close of the conflict. Pro- and anti-abortion protesters gathered at the Binnenhof, the Netherlands' political center, on October 30, 1974. The site was the stage for intense debates on the legalization and regulation of abortion, reflecting social and political changes underway in the country. Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay reached the summit of Mount Everest on May 29, 1953, becoming the first to conquer the world's highest peak. The expedition was organized by the United Kingdom and marked a historic mountaineering achievement. A fallen tree lay across the rocky shoreline in Pacific Grove, California, during the 1950s. The area is known for its natural landscapes, including cypress and pine trees exposed to the strong winds of the Pacific Ocean, which often cause trees to fall. In 1971, a cement truck had an accident near Winganon, Oklahoma, and its mixer was so heavy it could not be removed. Since then, locals have repainted and decorated the structure, turning it into a creative replica of a NASA space capsule. David Bowie, Brian May, and Roger Taylor met Princess Diana at Live Aid in 1985. The event, held simultaneously in London and Philadelphia, brought together music icons to raise funds for famine relief in Ethiopia. A Foreign Legion soldier rescued a starving donkey during the Algerian War, making the animal the unit's mascot, named Bambi. Mascots were common among troops, providing emotional relief and strengthening camaraderie amid the challenges of conflict. Roy Repp performed his famous automotive stunt show known as Bucking Buick. In 1910, he executed impressive maneuvers that made the car appear to jump or rear up, delighting audiences at fairs and events. The horse Brooklyn Supreme gained fame as the largest in the world, measuring 19.2 hands, about 6 feet 4.8 inches, tall, and weighing approximately 3,297 pounds. In 1930, he embodied the strength and grandeur of the Belgian draft breed. Astor, a police dog, was led by his handler, Sergeant Ernst Müller, through the streets of Hamburg. In 1955, canine units already played a key role in policing, assisting in suspect searches, patrols, and maintaining public order. Charles-Jean Rigouleau excelled as a weightlifter, winning the gold medal at the 1924 Paris Olympics. Beyond his sporting success, he became a racing driver, competing in events such as the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Automobiles were parked beneath the Eiffel Tower in Paris at a time when the area was still open for parking. In 1970, the site attracted both tourists and drivers seeking convenient access to France's most famous monument. Workers assembled radios at the Emerson Radio and Phonograph Corporation factory in 1945, contributing to the mass production of electronic equipment in the post-war period. The company was a sector leader, supplying radios for both home and military use. Vehicles piled up in a traffic jam on the streets of Chicago in 1927, reflecting the rapid growth of automobile use in North American cities. The increase in urban traffic demanded new infrastructure solutions such as traffic lights and regulations. 2 illegal alcohol producers were arrested by federal agents near St. Paul, Minnesota in 1921. During Prohibition in the United States, clandestine production and distribution of beverages, known as moonshining, proliferated in response to the official ban. A horse and miners worked together deep in a mine in France in 1970. Despite mechanization advances, horses were still used in some underground operations to pull ore carts because of their strength and endurance. Pablo Picasso worked in his studio in Paris in 1944, a period marked by both the German occupation and the city's liberation during World War II. 2 shoe shiners talked with a Civil War veteran on a busy street during the 1920s. Encounters like this were common, bringing together different generations who had lived through significant periods of United States history. Hippie movement travelers roamed the streets of Kabul, Afghanistan, in August 1971 as part of the famous Hippie Trail. This route was popular among Western youth seeking cultural, spiritual, and alternative experiences, traveling from Europe to South Asia. Elvis Presley received medical treatment after breaking his little toe during a recreational American football game in 1960. Accompanied by his girlfriend Anita Wood and friends, the singer showed his sporting spirit even off-stage. A Soviet war veteran stood near the Eternal Flame during Victory Day anniversary celebrations in 1966. The date, commemorated on May 9th, marks Nazi Germany's capitulation and the end of World War II in Europe. Great Britain's national team defeated Denmark in the football final at the 1912 Stockholm Olympics, securing the retention of the gold medal they had won in 1908. The victory cemented the British side as one of the era's leading amateur football powers. A window cleaner carried out his work high above the United Nations building in New York City during the 1950s. The job required courage and skill, especially given the limited safety measures of the time compared to today's standards. British cyclists posed with their gold medals after victories in multiple events at the 1908 London Olympics. The team excelled in track competitions, solidifying the United Kingdom's tradition in international cycling. Reggie Walker of South Africa won the gold medal in the 100-meter dash at the 1908 London Olympics. His victory was remarkable, making him the youngest Olympic champion in this event's history at just 19 years old. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi remained at the Bab Azizia Palace complex in Tripoli after it was struck and partly destroyed by a United States airstrike in April 1986. The operation, known as El Dorado Canyon, was a response to actions attributed to the Libyan government. French children played near invasion landing craft, symbols of Allied military presence during World War II. These scenes were common in liberated villages and beaches, where youthful curiosity contrasted with the military operations environment. A teapot-shaped cafe caught the eye in Bedford, Pennsylvania in 1943. Known as the Coffee Pot, the venue served coffee, beer, wine, and spirits, becoming a classic example of programmatic architecture that used unusual forms to attract customers. A young woman served behind the counter at a Walgreens pharmacy in Boise, Idaho in 1958. The chain's stores, already well established in the United States, offered a mix of pharmaceuticals, convenience items, and counter services, such as ice cream and snacks. A removable radio was released for Oldsmobile and Pontiac models in 1957, operating on its own batteries when detached from the vehicle. This innovation allowed drivers to take the device with them, turning the car radio into a portable unit. A milkman left bottles of milk on a doorstep during the 1950s, a practice common in many countries. Door-to-door delivery service ensured families had fresh milk daily before supermarkets and home refrigerators became widespread. American soldiers enjoyed bottles of Coca-Cola, a beverage widely distributed to troops during World War II. It is estimated that over 5 billion bottles were supplied, boosting troop morale and cementing the brand as a symbol of American culture. A woman received a permanent wave, a beauty treatment popularized in the 1930s to create lasting curls. The method involved heated metal rollers and chemicals, requiring the hairstylist's skill and the client's patience. McDonald's and Soviet Union flags fluttered in Moscow in 1990, marking the opening of the first restaurant of the chain in the country. This event symbolized the Soviet economy's gradual opening to Western markets during the reform period known as perestroika. A cyclist used an amphibious bicycle to navigate the River Thames in London during the 1960s. This type of invention combined bicycle and boat features, allowing travel both on land and water. A vendor sold hot dogs to spectators at the Gamla Ullevi Stadium in Gothenburg, Sweden, during a football match in 1939. The practice of selling snacks in the stands was common, offering convenience to fans as they watched the games. A mother posed proudly beside 8 of her children, all service members who served in different branches of the armed forces and returned home safely. Stories like this became symbols of family devotion and patriotism, especially during times of conflict. Captain Arthur Rostrun and his officers of the RMS Carpathia posed with a silver cup gifted by Titanic survivors in thanks for their rescue efforts. In 1912, the Carpathia responded swiftly to the distress call, saving more than 700 people from the icy waters. Coast Guard riders, known as sand pounders, patrolled on horseback along beaches during World War II. Their mission was to monitor the U.S. coastline for enemy activity, such as covert landings or submarines. An amusement park ride simulated flying cars with vehicles suspended from a rotating drum. During the 1950s, riders controlled each car's speed using individual brakes, providing an interactive and thrilling experience. Clerks sorted packages destined for international mail at the British Parcel Service. In 1915, efficiency in sorting was crucial to ensure the delivery of letters and goods, especially during wartime when global communication was vital. A foot massage machine was developed by Swedish physician Gustav Zander, a pioneer in using mechanical devices to promote health and well-being. Fossils of the crinoid Jimbocrinus, known as sea lilies, were unearthed in Western Australia, preserving remarkable details of marine organisms that lived approximately 280 million years ago. The Australian ship's success was showcased as a relic of the penal transportation era, displaying artifacts and cells to attract visitors. Although marketed as a former deportation vessel, it never officially served that role. A mascot known as Aircrew accompanied cadets at the Cressy Royal Air Force Flying School, bringing levity and morale to rigorous training. In 1943, during World War II, mascots were common in military units, providing emotional comfort and strengthening team spirit. A rapid transit streetcar carried passengers through the streets of Brooklyn, New York in 1900. These vehicles were essential for urban mobility, connecting neighborhoods and facilitating the daily commute of thousands of people in the growing metropolis. 30 silver bars were displayed by the Boston and Colorado Gold and Silver Smelting Company, a major foundry in Colorado. In 1878, mining and refining precious metals drove the region's economic growth, attracting investors and workers seeking fortune. Charlie Chaplin posed alongside Albert Einstein and his wife Elsa at the premiere of the film City Lights in Los Angeles. In 1931, the meeting between the world's most famous comedian and the renowned physicist drew significant media and public attention. The Miss America pageant winner received a new hairstyle at a beauty salon in 1926 as she prepared for official engagements and photo sessions. By that time, the Miss America title already represented media-promoted standards of elegance and beauty. Two women gazed at the sea in Palm Beach, photographed between 1900 and 1906, wearing long dresses and period-typical hats. The Florida town was already a sought-after destination for tourists seeking leisure and mild weather. A 64-washer model washing machine was for sale at Sears Roebuck in Syracuse, New York in 1941. This type of appliance represented the modernization of household chores, offering greater convenience for laundry during a period of rapid technological innovations. A labeling machine operated at the original Heinz factory in Pittsburgh in 1901. The company, founded by Henry J. Heinz in 1869, stood out for its mass production of processed foods such as ketchup, pickles, and sauces. Children left school in Dunklin County, Missouri, in July 1942. During that period, rural education in the United States was often conducted in small community schools serving families primarily involved in agriculture. A biplane flew over Washington, D.C. on October 14, 1910, marking one of the first flight demonstrations in the United States Capitol. Cyclists took part in a penny-farthing race, bicycles with a much larger front wheel than rear, in New York in 1890. This model was popular in the late 19th century, before safety bicycles with similarly sized wheels were introduced. Visitors explored the Tomorrowland area at Disneyland in 1966, posing beside actors dressed in futuristic costumes. Opened in 1955, Tomorrowland reflected the era's enthusiasm for space, technology, and progress, inspired by the space race and scientific advances. During the 1980s, in response to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan that began in 1979, some gas stations in Toronto refused to fuel Lada vehicles, a brand of cars produced in the Soviet Union. A typist of the future concept was introduced around 1970, combining futuristic design with ergonomic functionality. The announcement of the consolidation between the city and county of Jacksonville, Florida, took place in 1968. This merger integrated Jacksonville's municipal government with Duval County's government, creating one of the largest metropolitan jurisdictions in the United States by area. A baby learned to walk using a wicker frame while the mother did laundry during the 1910s. This type of walker, made with natural materials like wood and wicker, was common before plastic and metal models became widespread. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.